All right, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews, and today we're gonna be talking about the Fischer Ranger 96. Now, I skied on the Fischer Ranger 90, okay? So I didn't ski on this specific 96, but it's 6mm difference. You think they like reconstruct the whole ski? No, it's like a slight dimension change. It'll be fine. If that matters to you and you don't want my opinion on something where it's that different, by all means, here, now you know, but 6mm underfoot shouldn't be enough to make it so I don't understand how the ski works. I skied on the Atomic Maverick 88, 95, 100. I skied on different versions of a couple of different skis this year. It makes a difference. You can tell with like how long it takes to turn, how well it floats, right? It changes slight things, but when you just go from a 90 to a 96, they're performing very similar functions. So I don't know, I'm trying to work on new content. I want to kind of branch out. Also want to be transparent to you. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So here's what I thought of the Fischer Rangers. I thought that they floated a lot better than I expected. They didn't feel really heavy and kind of sink in. They kind of felt wider than they are kind of on paper. They floated really well in the trees. They bounced around in between the kind of mogul sections I went on with them. But the thing that I was most impressed with them is that they carve really well, but they've got really easy turn initiation. Like if you build a little bit of pressure on the boot, they will kind of initiate their turn quickly. Now this 96 is a little wider, it may be a little less responsive than the 90, but still, that construction alone, it's like it takes your leverage and really loads it into the tip and really just wants to start that turn. And what's nice about that is that's good for groomers, especially people who are kind of getting into carving or aren't as comfortable. They won't need to flex their boots as much to get the turn started. You'll still have to fully flex to get the perfect turn, but at least you can kind of get that hook going earlier. The other thing that makes it nice is that when you're in the woods, having turn initiation that's quick is really nice for making quick turns and going edge to edge in a really like smooth manner that you would want in the woods. And that extra flotation, well, if there's deep powder, these skis ski a little bit wider than you would expect. And they're able to access snow conditions that might surprise you. Let's see what Out of Collective thinks of the Fischer Ranger 96.
Adam here from the Out of Collective, and today we're going to talk about the all-new Fischer Ranger 96. So a couple things are new for this ski for 2022, 2023. One, everything. Like everything's changed. So it's a totally new ski line. They've mixed it with the Ranger Free line. So now Ranger is the only option. So Pink Ski Gang is a thing of the past. And now we have this all new Ranger series. So this year, Fischer decided to put a big focus on sustainability. Obviously, that's very important to some people. For one, these skis are made with 25% recycled steel edges. For the full action list of items that they did for sustainability, you can go to Fischer's website and they have like every little tidbit. It's also labeled nicely on the back of every ski, which is what I'm reading off of right now. I think sustainability is super important, and I believe that pretty much everybody watching this would agree with me. However, none of it means anything if the skis ski bad. So let's talk about how the ski actually performs.
You'd be surprised. I got so many comments in my section saying, when I did my Montec and Dope Snow video, saying, well, sustainability, who cares? Have you ever eaten a cheeseburger? Then you're part of the problem anyway, and it doesn't matter. It matters to me, okay? Yeah, I've had jackets in the past that weren't ethically sourced or, you know, kind of environmentally sustainable, but that was before maybe I kind of understood the bigger picture or was more conscientious of it. Yeah, I try now really hard to buy ethically sourced clothes. It can be difficult because some of that stuff can be expensive, but I found kind of the loophole there is buying stuff used. So I try really hard. I'm not perfect, no one is, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try and care about sustainability. I'll get off my soapbox now, but yeah, there are some people who were very upset by that.
So when it comes to performance on this ski, 96 underfoot, 2 sheets of metal through the Shape TI section. Shape TI, in case you were wondering while we're talking about it, we'll cut to some B-roll and you'll get to see it up close. But this is all Shape TI. And what it does for you is it adds torsional stability through the midsection plus a little bit further down the length of the ski. Torsional stability adds to your ability to go high speed. It adds to the ski's dampness, basically. And it adds to, well, metal in general will add to the ski's dampness, but torsional rigidity is what's going to make that ski feel like it's not super floppy, even when it's fun and playful like this ski is. So
yeah, that makes sense. It's stable in its turns, but having that softer tip, you really do feel it in that it doesn't take a lot of pressure to get the turn initiated. It feels stable once you get on it, but what you can do is you can kind of load the ski and it's gonna kind of get that tip bent and it's gonna start off that turn for you. That makes a lot of sense. It also very reminiscent of the K2 Mindbender's build, although they ski very different from the K2 Mindbender, but they have kind of those similar characteristics. The K2 Mindbender is more like set and rail through things. I found that the Fischer Ranger was able to float a little bit better than the K2 Mindbender. It was also able to initiate turns more quickly. That's always kind of been in the vein of Fischer's design choices. They've always kind of had that, even dating back to their race skis. You really feel it with this ski. It's got that kind of softer tip, but it doesn't feel like floppy. It almost feels like you flex your boot and they're on a hair trigger. They're ready to turn. And it's a good feeling. You might need to get used to it if you're not. If you're coming from like a Rossignol or an Atomic, yeah, it might feel a little odd at first, but once you get that timing down, it is a very nice turn.
Back construction. 2 sheets of metal through that section, wood core tip and tail. Obviously the ski throughout is a wood core ski, but just having wood tip and tail makes the ski soft, more playful, kind of like that Ranger FR feel where you're like, this could be my park ski if I really, really wanted to. You could take this thing in the jumps, in the trees, as an all mountain ripper. This is really, I hate one ski quiver and it's a lazy way to explain anything, but this, especially in New England, is a great option for an everyday ski. Most people ski skis like a Nordica Enforcer.
I'm not gonna adjust the Nordica Enforcer. You know what, it's gotten beaten up enough. We're gonna ignore it for today. Yeah, my brother actually daily drives these Fischer Rangers, and he loves them. So I totally back up what he's saying. I think it is a really good, I hate the one ski quiver as well. What I would say that I use instead is daily driver, because it's like you can have a pair of GS skis that you do tuck runs on, you can have like a designated pair of powder skis, but on average conditions, what are you taking out onto the hill? And I think of it as like a daily driver. What do you take out on the road the most? And this is a good option for that. So yeah, he's not wrong. Like, he's totally spot on. My brother said the same thing, that they're really great on the East Coast. I skied them on the West and was really impressed with them. I think that they're a really great ski, and I get why people like them.
A Blizzard Brahma, Vocal Kendo, and they really don't need that much metal in their ski. This is more for like the average consumer, where you're like, I want a ski that charges. I want to be able to go ski with my friends, but I want to have a good time, right? Like, I don't want to be forced to ski a ski that's skiing me all day. And I think that's kind of what Fischer has to offer in the new Ranger line. No.
A quick note, I would say if you're going to compare this to something, I guess I need to like spend more time getting on the Kendos, but I would say that in my mind, at least on the West Coast, this is similar to like a Volcal M6 Mantra as far as what it does. Like, it can go in the woods and go in the powder, at least on the West Coast, but it also carves really well. The difference between the M6 Mantra and the Fischer Ranger is that the M6 Mantra excels more in like slush or kind of heavy wet snow, maybe kind of like a crud cutter as I call it. It'll kind of sink in and charge through things, whereas the Fischer Ranger, I would say, is more of a like carving to powder ski. It can carve really well, just as well as the Mantra, but it also floats really well on top of the snow, whereas the M6 Mantra will kind of get bogged down a little bit more. That's just my opinion, but I would say that if you're looking at similar widths and kind of similar multifaceted skis, those are very similar in my mind.
A lot of people had kind of had comments like, oh, it was soft. I felt like it was not the same as a traditional Fischer ski. It's not. And for years, all anybody did was complain about a Fischer ski being too stiff, too aggressive. And now they make one that's fun and soft and enjoyable to ski on a regular basis. People have something to say about it. So,
oh, good Lord, people have something to say about anything. Here's what I would say. God, I'm also somebody with something to say. But I would say that what they're probably miscalculating, because it can feel like that, is that it doesn't take a lot of pressure in their ski boot to start the turn. So sometimes people can make the miscalculation that that makes the ski soft. And it's not. A soft ski is something that is basically describing that when you load the ski, kind of what's its capacity for energy that it can take. If something's really soft, it'll kind of max out, and then you won't be able to load the pressure as much as you normally could. You won't be able to use all of your ski boot leverage to snap into the next turn. This is a stiff ski. It feels stable at the apex of the turn. It's more that it's got really easy turn initiation. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to get the turn started. And if you're not carving all the way through, if you're just kind of doing the first part of the turn, then you go, oh, it didn't take much to get started. It's like, yeah, it doesn't take much, but you can load it all the way in the rest of the turn. If you're kind of like, I know Nordic Enforcer kind of likes that type of skier. If you're in that vein, this may not be the ski for you, but it's not a soft ski. It's just that it's got easy turn initiation.
In my opinion, this has been a phenomenal new product, phenomenal new line across the board. The 96 is going to be what I ski on quite a bit. The 102 is also going to be a popular option for a lot of people. They make them all the way down to a 90, and they make them all the way up to, I think it's a 116. So for those real powder days, they have an option for you. A couple quick things, just when it comes to spec, 17 meter radius, which you'll see a lot of the skis in this category have, tight enough to do short, quick slalom turns, but also big enough that you can really charge on this thing. For reference, I'm skiing this in a 183, and I'm 6 foot, 220. That's the size that I like to ski in New England. One thing I would like to...
Yeah, I'd say that's a little wide for New England, especially you're up at Cannon. I don't know, it's pretty north. Maybe you're getting some good snow. In my opinion, coming from New England, I would say that you probably would be fine with a Fischer Ranger 90, but just my opinion, for like the average person, 90 is probably plenty of width. And I agree, this is a really nice ski, and I've talked yesterday about the Salomon QST getting overlooked. I would say the Fischer Ranger doesn't get overlooked as much, but maybe like underappreciated. That it is a really nice design, and they went out of their way to make something that could go in the powder, but also carve well. And you don't see that all the time. A lot of times companies will get kind of tunnel vision on one thing, and Fischer really was like, okay, if we're gonna make this ski do well in the powder, it also needs to be able to carve on the groomers. And I think that that's really pragmatic and really a design that I respect.
See them do a little bit better on the skis, offer more size ranges. I feel like it's a little limited, and it does ski short because of that tip profile. Because it skis short, people will be inclined to go up a size. To me, I think you go with the size that you normally would go with, and at least if you're getting the opportunity to demo it.
I would agree with that, actually. I think the ski is fine in the normal length. I think people get a little crazy with that because they go, oh, the ski initiates really well. I better just get a larger size to compensate for that. It's like, no, adapt to that kind of style of skiing. Focus more on the middle of the turn. It's not that you need to compensate, it's that you as a skier need to learn and adapt to that style of skiing, because each ski is different and it demands different timing and different style of turning.
Go out, try it in a couple different size ranges and see what you think, because I think the recommendation is going to change based on what width you pick.
Yeah, I think that's totally accurate. You know, like I did the Fischer Ranger, but I can understand how the Fischer Ranger 96 would feel. You really got to give yourself more time with those wider skis to let them kind of come around. But what's nice about the Fischer Ranger is with that easy turn initiation, you can kind of focus more of your time on the middle to end of the turn, because it takes very little pressure, like I said, to get the beginning of the turn going.
For this one in particular, I think 183 is fine for me. You know, I think it fits great, or 182, whatever it is. I think it fits fine for me. Like, I have no issue, even though I'm 6 foot, it doesn't feel too short. For some reason, the 183 on the Ranger 102 feels short. So I think it's going to be person to person, style to style. Very much anybody can ski on this ski, so you're not going to be limited in terms of how much metal is in it.
I really respect this guy's choice for lengths. I mean, but what he's talking about, that's normal. If you have a wider ski, you can run it a little bit longer so that the dimensions kind of like balance out. I don't know how to say that, but so that they're proportionate. But 6 foot, I'm 6'1". I run a 176 in my Atomic Maverick 88 Ti for something that's carving. I want something closer to a slalom and GS turn, but on my powder skis, 182. I think this guy is on the money as far as length, which is refreshing to see.
Weight is not as much of a determining factor as it was in a lot of the skis previous, like the old Ranger was so stiff that if you were under 150 pounds, probably wasn't the ski for you. On this thing, you can take it wherever you want, whenever you want, and in pretty much any condition, and feel like you have the right tool for the job. So all in all, I'm a huge fan of the ski. If you're looking for a written review, check this thing out at www.outofpodcast.com. We have a link in the show notes, and let us know what you think.
This is a good review. I do feel like with some of these reviews, he's explaining the symptoms rather than the cause. And I think if he spent more time on the skis or kind of feeling the skis out, then he might kind of get a sense for that. Because Fischer has always had this. Even early on in the race skis, they've always focused on easy turn initiation so you could kind of perfect the timing of the rest of the turn. That's my only critique, is that you kind of missed that point. But, you know, different skiers feel different things, so maybe he just didn't feel that. But other than that, like, 2 thumbs up. I like these very simple reviews, very straight shooter. He is kind of like Ski Essentials, where he's talking a lot about like the build of the ski rather than like what it really feels like on foot. And you know, people love to talk about like the dimensions of skis. I would like to get a better feel for how the ski skis and what it feels like when it's actually on your feet. that's what I prefer personally. As always, I mean, this is like 2 for 2. Good review from Out of Collective. I think they did a good job. I think they are doing a good job steering consumers in the right direction. I personally would like to hear more about how it turns and how it carves. Maybe that's not what they're focused on. I've only seen a couple of videos. They do seem to be good skiers and good carvers. Overall, like it a lot. The other bit of housekeeping I wanted to do is I just want to say a big thank you to everyone in the comments. I get a bunch of comments asking me to try different skis, and I always tell people, keep commenting because it matters. Well, it worked out. I reached out to Black Crow, I sent them screenshots of all of the comments based on the Black Crow requests, and they said, okay, we'll send you a pair of skis. So I've already got one pair, I think I've got another pair coming, but thank you everyone who left those comments. I actually look at all of them, I forward them on to the companies and say, listen, people want to know about this ski. Can you just send me the ski? Now, as far as bias goes, I'm just borrowing the skis. I'm not looking for free skis from these companies. I've got plenty of skis. I'm just gonna mail them back when I'm done. But just so you're aware, we'll be providing the skis. In Black Crow's case, I still need to rent a pair of backcountry boots because of the bindings they sent me, so I'll still end up paying for the rental, kind of. But there's no Black Crows in my area, so I'm trying to do what you guys want to see. So if you have a ski that you really want me to demo, put it in the comments. I'll go through, screenshot it, and send it on to that company. Now, I can't guarantee that they'll actually send me something. There's some brands that just aren't near me. Like Icelandic is one of them that's hard to get. So if you have something that you want me to go on, it's hard for me to go to the company when I only have 2 requests for it. But like in Black Crow's case, I had dozens and dozens of requests. It made it easy. So thank you everyone so much in the community. I really appreciate that. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps my channel out a lot. And more than anything, I just want to say thank you for watching. You can check out more videos below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.